How's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? And yes, the time has come. We are officially unraveling and starting to break down all the latest rumors here in New York metropolitan land. I know you might be wondering, Wardy, we're really discussing Shohei Ohtani. Why are we doing this right now? There isn't a chance, and you know what, that he's going to land in Queens, not at the trade deadline, nor in the offseason. But as long, guys, as Shohei Ohtani is linked to the Mets, in which he has been from a recent post that we're going to get into here shortly, we have to discuss him. This is not just any Joe Schmo player. This is the most pulverizing, truly a one-of-one unicorn player, a phenom that is dominating baseball and taking it by storm year after year that we've seen for a couple years now. Shohei, what's the latest on him? What are these sweepstakes? What are the Mets' odds or chances, rather, of landing him by the trade deadline, if not the offseason, and so much more? That's what we're about to get into. But of course, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button as you guys are first chiming in. Let me know your initial comments down below. How are you feeling about Shohei Ohtani? Would you like to see him land in Queens? What are the odds of it happening in your opinion, and so much more? But before we go further into the video, I have to let you guys all know about today's sponsor, that being Mojo Sportsbook. Mojo Sportsbook is the live betting stock market that's based out of New Jersey. So if you are a New Jersey resident and you are a Mets fan, then listen up, because this is for you. Every bet on Mojo offers live trading so you can get in and get out all game long. It's stock trading meets sports betting with money lines, player props, and a whole new career-long bet they've created. So unlike what you see with other safe sportsbooks, where you just bet on the money lines, the K props, which you can certainly do here once you have great odds here at Mojo Sportsbook by clicking the link in the description, signing up today. However, what they also have is your ability to invest in players. So today's video is based around Shohei Ohtani. You can actually invest into Shohei Ohtani. You can invest into Francisco Alvarez. You can invest into whatever player you want for real dollars right now, and then you can buy low if, say, someone is hurt or not doing well. You can buy high if someone is high rolling and you know that his peak is going to be even higher than what it currently is. That is how you can invest in these players. But instead of investing, you can also do the money lines, the K props, in very similar fashion as I just discussed. But the best part of this all is that you're in total control of your bets. Unlike other sports books in which you see don't get a great cash out option, you're always getting the best available cash out option possible here with Mojo Sportsbook. So all you need to do is download the app today, clicking the link in the description of this video, using my promo code WardyNYM, that is WARDNYM, for a 20% deposit match up to $100. Again, that is WardyNYM for a 20% deposit match up to $100. And shout out to Mojo Sportsbook for being a great sponsor on the channel. But we're breaking down the latest piece of news that came out from the New York Post over the past 48 to 72 hours, stating that, yes, the Angels are officially starting to listen on offers for Shohei Ohtani. And the article being note through John Morosi that, yes, the odds of Shohei being dealt are certainly not strong at this point in time. But I was also the same fan that truly did not believe Juan Soto would be dealt last year, and he has since been a San Diego Padre. So we have already seen over the past couple years true phenoms in the game of baseball being dealt. And with Shohei not even being a guy that has control on his contract, he's a pending UFA. There's further reason to believe that if one team can really sweep the Angels off their feet, if you will, and give them an offer they basically cannot refuse for a guy that is likely not going to return, because let's be real, who wants to return to Artie Moreno and the LA Angels, right? And this is not a slight on Angels fans, but this is a slight on their ownership, and I've been very passionate on that front for a while as someone, as a Mets fan who has dealt with anemic ownership in previous regimes with the Wilpons, for example. Point stands, however, Shohei Ohtani is a one-of-one, and we're not going to break down the numbers crazy here. He has over 33 bombs this year, 70-plus RBIs. He's roughly in the 180 WRC plus or OPS plus, which means he's basically 80% better currently than the average batter in baseball. Overall-wise, he is the best player in baseball. Pitching-wise, he has around a 3.5 year rate, basically a 12K per nine. The walk rate has been a little bit up this year, however, has 100 in his back pocket on the gun like no tomorrow. He is so phenomenal in every way, shape, or form. We saw him dominate and strike out his teammate and Mike Trout to win the World Baseball Classic for Japan. He is the face of Japan. He is the face of Major League Baseball now, too. So if there's any possibility of landing said player, we have to have this discussion, because as it was noted in this recent article, we have the Dodgers, we have the Padres, we have the Yankees, and yes, we have the Mets, all among teams that have been linked to varying degrees to, yes, Shohei Ohtani. And of course, there's going to be other teams that are going to be involved that say aren't widely widely reported at the moment, but all the big market clubs that we know about for the most part are currently linked. We've heard some guy out there by the name of Buster Only saying that he firmly believes that the Yanks are going to go hard after Ohtani by the trade deadline. Find it hard to believe that Brian Cashman is now going to be, okay, I'm going to give up my entire farm for a rental, in which there's no guarantee of him returning. That does not feel very Yanks or Cashman-like over the past 10 to 15 years. So Yanks fans, let me know if you feel any differently. So I don't know how to feel about that per se. I'm really only taking that with a grain of salt. The same way that this report you too can kind of take with a grain of salt. Why, you might be wondering, well, the Mets right now are anemic. They're horrendous. This is a team that is in full line to sell by the trade deadline. They should be selling sooner than later at this rate. All their rentals and Tommy Pham, Mark Canha, David Robertson, maybe even Brooks Raley, even though I would like to see him return. I would like to see many of these guys return, especially in the bullpen front. But the fact of the matter is these guys have value and they may not be returning once the season concludes. So if you can get any type of decent prospect capital or MLB caliber players that are younger that have control of their contracts in return right now, you absolutely do it for a Mets team in which their season has been in disarray before it even really began, with Edwin Diaz starting things off by going down out for the year with his injury. So we know that this Mets team has been anything but good this season, and we know that they likely need to be selling versus buying. However, there is an argument to be had here, and that's why we're going to briefly go through the pros and the cons, why it makes sense for the Mets to potentially go down this route to see what they have there, and why it doesn't make sense and why they may be better off saying the free agent market. But let's start with the pros. The pros as to why you want to trade for Shohei Ohtani. Even if this Mets team does not go anywhere this year, the idea of trading for the best player in baseball to impact your team right away and have more negotiation time, give Ohtani a feel of what it's like to play in Queens, be a part of Queens, be in this ballpark, be with fellow countrymen and Kodai Singh, in which they do have a relationship to a degree, and all these other factors, rekindling his relationship, whether you love him or hate him, with Billy Apple, the man who heavily scouted and signed Shohei to the Angels a couple years ago during his time in front office with LA. The point here stands. There are a lot of reasons as to why acquiring Shohei Ohtani, the best player on the planet, even for a Mets team that likely will not go anywhere this year, is appealing and makes sense, and gives Steve Cohen ample time to try to discuss and feel things out with Ohtani, see how he's feeling, and see if there's any potential of inking him up to a contract that he simply cannot refuse, right? The Godfather way, if you will. Got to give him an offer he can't refuse, right? That is the Steve Cohen way too. So that's always a pro. Now let's get on to why this is a con. Let's give one example. Well, if you give up all this prospect capital, if you give up, say, some top picks from recent years, maybe you trade, a cocktail of a Brett Beatty, a Mark Vientos, a Ronnie Mauricio, something along those lines, maybe some depth in the pitching as well. By doing this, you not only hurt and deplete the farm, you go against what you have been trying to build over the past couple of years, which is buying high in the offseason while keeping this farm intact, all to potentially lose out on the best player in baseball in just a couple months when you are currently a squad that is not in position to be buying a player thinking that this singular player is going to make or break your season. As great as Shohei Ohtani is, as much as he will come in and impact this rotation so good right away, as much as he will completely change the outlook of the offense and have a power bat aside from Pete Alonso, have the best DH in baseball, you could rightfully argue, along with the Yordan Alvarez's of the world, for example, when healthy, this is still a Mets team that would be giving up so much, and the risk factor is so unbelievably high. Should he say as soon as the year is done, yeah, you know what, it was fun here, we didn't really get on much of a roll, I want to be back out west, and I really love what the Dodgers are doing there, being a consistent winner for the past decade plus, so I'm going to go back out west now with the Angels, with the Dodgers. You know what, maybe I am going to go to the Bronx, maybe I'm going to consider that, given their storied history. I would love to play with Aaron Judge, or maybe, I want to go out to Seattle, because, I grew up idolizing a guy like Ichiro, and it would be great to be over there in that part of the country. Whatever it may be, you're taking a massive risk factor by giving up the farm for a guy in which there's no sure guarantee and landing. So you see, you got the devil, you got the angel on the shoulders, right? It's like, you really want him, you go all in now, and if you do ink him up, then you look like an absolute genius if you're the Mets. Yes, you gave up assets for that, but having that ample time, those couple months extra prior to truly hitting the free agent market, did wonders in helping your negotiation. That could play a factor. Or it's the other factor again, you're buying in on a guy when in reality there's no guarantee if he's going to return. And of course, the biggest elephant in the room, the schmuck that I mentioned earlier, he goes by the name of WardyNYM. Ever heard of him? One of the worst owners in baseball. Said no to Steve Cohen on becoming owner. Thankfully, he did not have too much control of that, because Cohen has been an owner in baseball for the past couple of years now, as he was spending an astronomical amount of money. The one thing that he can do well and really separate himself from other owners in baseball. But we know that Artie Moreno does not like Cohen, probably does not like the Mets. So the idea of allowing his management to do deals with their former GM, that being Billy Appler and Steve Cohen, feels very far-fetched, right? I mean, we know the Angels are going to be hard-pressed to even want to trade Shohei as is. They're going to try to give him somewhat of a competitive offer by this offseason. And while that may hold true, the other factor that may hold true is that Ohtani's just like, I'm done in this organization. I deserve better. I deserve consistent winning. And let's be real, as much as we love the Mets, as much as I admire Steve Cohen, they have yet to prove that they can be a consistent winner. That is why a club like the Dodgers, I firmly believe, will be that biggest obstacle in the Mets' way in these Ohtani sweepstakes. They don't only have a lot of money to throw, but even if, say, Cohen decides to throw more come the offseason, let's say hypothetically Ohtani doesn't get dealt and he is available in free agency, right? Let's say the Dodgers give him a big contract, but Cohen offers at least 50 to 80 million more on that deal. Would not shock me in the slightest if Ohtani basically pulls a Trevor Bauer, where he was offered more guaranteed money on the same type of deal, but decides to stay out west there with the Dodgers, a consistent contender every single year, versus a Mets team that proved this year, a great example, that you might have all the money and you might have a lot of talent on paper, but it does not amount to immediate success. That may turn off Shohei Ohtani, and that may hurt the Mets' chances in these sweepstakes, regardless of the trade deadline factor, but just going after him as a whole. So again, this is a pulverizing topic for a pulverizing player. Who wouldn't want Shohei Ohtani on their club? And even for a team that is likely selling, there is a fair argument to be had as to why they may go route, or at least consider this before the season's end. But more than anything, guys, I want to know, how are you feeling on the Shohei Ohtani front? Is this something that you would like to see the Mets do? Would you like to see them go after that being in Shohei Ohtani? Would you like to see them give a competitive offer to really try to go all in? Maybe pull, say, a Juan Soto type deal from a year ago, give a crazy offer and land him right away and hope that he will return come the offseason. And speaking of Juan Soto and those Padres, keep an eye out for AJ Preller. The Padres, they just got swept in their doubleheader series there to the Phillies, but AJ Preller is a guy that is so crazy, and even though they have the deepest farm, the Padres are always a team that you have to watch, because who knows what's going to happen. They're in similar limbo to the Mets, but they do decide to buy. You have to think that they might just be, F it, we're going all in. We have all the superstar talent, but we want even more. So they are, of course, a club to watch. But Mets fans, I want to know your thoughts and comments below. How do you feel about Shohei Ohtani? How do you feel about the Mets' chances of landing him, either via trade or come the offseason? And however you're feeling, wherever you think he's going to go, whatever you think the result of this is going to be, make sure to drop him down below. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for smashing that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for consistent trade deadline, post-game, podcast content every week, almost daily, for the ensuing weeks to come as we inch closer and closer to this year's coveted MLB trade deadline. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.